velvet pages turn to dust. An ink-stained phantom I can trust. This labyrinthine bindings calling.
Welcome everybody to the Curious World, where we talk about everything and anything. Today we have Miss Amber here. So Miss Amber, if you want to introduce yourself, and I know you do some book talking on TikTok, so and the type of books that you read and so on.
Yep, absolutely. My name is Amber. I go by Eyrun Reads on TikTok. I do primarily book talk and mostly dark romance, dark fantasy, pretty much anything dark. But I do read pretty much every genre, just a little bit of each. But honestly, anything dark is my favorite.
All right. So, how many books are in your book collection behind you right now?
So this is my smallest shelf, actually. And this one has about 100 books on it, and then there's a bigger bookshelf that goes all the way across, all the way behind you. So total, I think I've got like probably 290 altogether.
290. All
Yeah.
right, so you're not that far from Jen, who has like 500 books. The other
Yeah,
person that
I
I,
have not been doing it as long as Jen, so mine's been more recent.
yeah, the other person that I had on the podcast, Jenny Thrifty Reads. She has about 1,500 plus books,
Wow.
all from thrifting. If she wants a book, she'll really bad. If she wants a book really badly, she'll go to a big bookstore and buy it. But she mostly does thrifting.
I would say probably 50, if not 60% of my collection comes from half price books, places like that. So there are some newer ones that I have. Like I've got some pretty sprayed edges and things like that that I've gotten from like, Barnes and Noble and stuff, but the majority of my collection is from half price books.
So which one's your like pride and joy?
My pride and joy, oh goodness. Probably the first special edition I ever bought, which funny enough has nothing to do with anything romance or dark at all, was actually Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. That was my first special edition I ever bought. It was a book that I read probably back in like 2017 and loved it. And it was one, I wouldn't say it got me back into reading because there was a pretty good lull between that time and now. But that was the first special edition book I ever bought. So that one's a pride and joy. And then obviously my Haunting Adeline is my all-time favorite. So
So why is that one your all-time favorite? Like what is it about that book that you love so much?
Haunting Adeline was the first dark romance book I ever read, which I don't recommend, by the way. I never recommend that book. If anybody's wanting to get into dark romance, I have a whole list of books that'll get you into it. Haunting Adeline is not one of them. It is very, very dark. It is very on the end of very traumatic things happening. All the dark romance things you could possibly want are in this book. I started with it because when I got on Book Talk, that was the big book at the time. Everyone was talking about it. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll read this, having no idea what I was going into. But it quickly became my favorite, just because of the way that the author speaks about the trauma and the way that she plays it out in the book. The way that she moves through the healing arcs of all of it was just absolutely beautiful. And I've never read another dark romance that has been able to have all of these elements and be able to make me feel whole and put back together by the end of it.
So would you read it again, or would it be like one and done? Just keep it on
No,
the shelf.
100 times over. So the first time I read it, I had no idea what I was doing with books. And so my goal is to go back through, reread it, and then annotate it, do all the things that I do now that kind of help me process a book a little bit better. And I mean, it'll be a reread forever. She's talked about releasing another duet because there's Haunting and there's Hunting Adeline and they go together. Same story. She's talking about releasing another duet around the same characters, Zayd and Addie. And so when she does that, I will be rereading them 100%.
So is I've heard of Haunting Adeline. Hunting Adeline, is that like the prequel to Haunting, or is it the sequel?
It's the sequel. So Haunting is where we kind of learn Addie's background and where she came from, how she ended up where she is, and the beginning of the relationship between her and Zayd. At the end of Haunting, it ends on a cliffhanger, and then book two picks up at the beginning of that cliffhanger. Book two, Hunting Adeline, isn't talked about as much because a lot of people that are not as delved into the dark romance world, Haunting is
Mhm.
kind of something that if they want to go darker, they can read Haunting. And if they decide that the themes that are happening in that book are not something they want to read about, they don't have to read Hunting. Hunting is just the continuation. But you don't get the healing arc. You don't get the end of it. But the first half of Hunting Adeline is just everything that she goes through. It's very traumatic. It's very triggering. It is very heavy, but it's to me, it's worth it at the end because then you get that healing arc at the end of it.
Okay. So you're big on dark romance, would you say you're big on dark romance or more big on dark fantasy?
I think dark romance probably is more. I just recently got into dark fantasy, so I read Rhapsodic by Laura Thalassa. That's the first book in the series. It's the Bargainer series.
Mhm.
That was probably my first dark fantasy, and I absolutely loved it. Um, Dark Academia is good. My favorite one's Nocticadia. Love that one to death. Honestly, I'm learning that anything that has the dark elements where there's more to the story than just like boy meets girl, they fall in love and they live happily ever after. I'm like, yeah, that's great sometimes. But I want to feel more than that. And so I think that's just where it all comes from.
Okay. So would you say that you're heading towards more unhinged chaos or more of the soft, dark romance?
I like a little bit of both. And I think that that's also why I like the Lord series by Chantal Tessier. So her books, the first one is Riot Archer, and he's unhinged. Don't get me wrong. All of the lords are absolutely unhinged, but the whole book is based around her having this like idea of what sexuality means and what it is to her and the things that she was told early on in her development that that's wrong, you shouldn't like that, why, that's weird, that's gross. And he takes all of that and kind of says like, hey, that's normal, it's okay to like these things. And so he does those things with her to show her that not only is it okay, but she's safe, she's protected, and he's there to kind of help her walk through that. The second book, on the other hand, is completely unhinged. There is no like being soft or gentle, or it's just head first, straight into dark romance. That book is it's Haunting Adeline.
Hmm.
They're the exact same in a sense of like they're just as dark, they're just as crazy, they're doing the same crazy stuff. Um, and then, literally the next book is Tyson Crawford, and he's like father figure, and he's gentle, but in a loving way, not necessarily in any other way, because he still does all the same unhinged things that all the other guys do. But
Right.
he's just a little bit more wise about it, and he's a little more gentle with her than he is with anybody else. And so each one of them kind of has different themes. That's why I love her series to begin with. But they're all crazy and unhinged for sure.
So would you say that the Lord series would be like, oh, this is a type of book I want to read or a type of genre I want to read? Or did it take you a couple of books to figure out what your niche is into books?
Immediate. It was immediate.
Immediate.
So I did Hunting and Hunting Adeline. I did a couple of other books in between there. And then once I discovered the Lord series, it was over. I dove headfirst. When I first read them, there was only three or four because there's a novella. So I read all of those and I was like, okay, now what? And then Madness came out and then Chaotic came out. And I haven't continued the series yet. I haven't read them. Because I want to reread them because again, it was right in the beginning. So I wasn't annotating, I wasn't paying attention to the world building, I wasn't paying attention to any of that because the whole background of the Lords is like a secret society. And I feel like I missed so much of that secret society because I was so focused on the characters.
Hmm.
So before I read the next two, which she's still coming out with more, there's still more coming. But before I dive into that, I do want to reread the other ones. So there is a lot that I need to redo in my books.
So obviously you've read I can't remember the name of the book, but it's black and blue. It has a like a mask.
Oh, Lights Out.
Lights out. Thank you.
Yeah, that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So obviously the third one's going to be coming out pretty soon.
Yes.
Well, my wife has the book. She's not really big in that type of tropes. I want to maybe read it one day. Should I just go blind into it, or should I like actually look at some reviews before starting the book?
So it's actually one of the books that I say is a good starter. If you're looking at any kind of dark romance or dark themes, it is a good starter because there are things that happen as far as the relationship between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
But Josh is also very like funny and he's, there's parts that pull you out of that dark emotion
Mm-hmm.
that I think are really, really good for people. Because a lot of people talk about like the buffer book or the palette cleanser, where if you read a dark romance book, you need to read like Tessa Bailey right after it, where it's just like boy meets girl and everything's fine. Um, I feel like that one does a really good job of putting in those moments right in between those harsh things that happen. And so it's a good starter book if you want to start getting into darker stuff. I mean, it's I don't know, that one and Caught Up, they're very different.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was a lot of controversy between people that really loved Lights Out not liking Caught Up because it was not the same thing. It's not the same male character. Um, but also I think that it's I think it touches the realm of dark romance just in what happens in it, not necessarily the depth of emotion that you get from something like really, really dark. And that's the thing, right? About dark romance. Like you have gray and then you have pitch black. And so when people ask me like, "Oh, what do you recommend for dark romance?" I'm like, "What have you already read? What did you like? What did you not like? Do you want Christian Grey or do you want Zade Meadows?" Like there's a very big difference between what we're looking for. Do you want BDSM and you just want this hardcore, or do you want actually like rip my heart out, devour it, and like put it back on a plate in front of me? Like just that's there's a very big difference there. And I think
Uh,
Lights Out is a great place to start for sure.
so would you say that romance has like subgenres into it, depending on what you read?
110%. Because there's the softer part, which is just more of the focus on the language around a darker, intimate moment where it's just like, oh, you just want to be called a good girl? Okay, cool. Like, go read this over here. But if you want something that's going to stick with you forever
Mm-hmm.
and something that is going to actually change who you are as a person,
Mm-hmm.
that's the other side. So there's definitely subgenres in there for sure. And then I mean it's the same with any kind of anything, right? Like you have my dark fantasy may not be your dark fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think but also You and I could read the same book and get something completely different out of it.
Right.
Reading is completely subjective.
Hmm.
So I think that there's subgenres within everything, but I also think we need to be careful when we're making those classifications,
Right.
especially when it comes to dark romance. And we need to be asking, what are you okay with? What are your triggers? What are some things that you are not okay with? And then ask specific questions. If you're having a genuine conversation with someone about it, you can just ask them, hey, this specific things happened in this book. Would that upset you? Would that hurt you? Would that make you triggered in any way? No? Okay, great, read it. Yes, okay, well, I kind of have a little bit of thing with this. Don't
Hmm.
read it. And I'll tell people all the time, don't read it because
So
it's not worth it.
true. What is your all right? I'm trying to figure out how to word this question. I'll just go ahead. So I like a good trigger page. I read
Mm,
a I love thrillers, especially psychological thrillers.
yep,
Noelle Ely, if I want something really messed up ish, then
yep.
I'll read one of her books.
Okay.
So for you to read a dark romance, would you like a trigger page, and how many triggers would you say, all right, this is going to be a good book, or this is going to be way too much for me?
If I'm being like the funny answer would be the longer the better,
Yeah.
right? Um, in reality, I have only found one thing that has ever genuinely made me put a book down and go, hold on. I don't know if I can finish this book. And it's very situational. It's very situational because in some ways I do enjoy reading books that have the same kind of theme, but in a different way. And
Hmm.
it's weird. It's weird. I don't know where it comes from. It's just an emotion that comes up in me, but there's only been ever one thing. Um, I don't really have anything that I particularly look for. I'll read through the triggers, but I just think they're funny. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. If I get recommended a dark romance book from a friend, typically if I'm eyeball reading it, I won't even look at the trigger warnings page because I know that that person recommended that book to me because they know
Hmm.
me. Some of my followers, they'll send me books and they're like, "Hey, you're gonna like this." And I'm like, "Yes, because you and I rate the same books the same way."
Hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. But for the most part, no, I I don't even look at them most of the time.
Me, I like to look at them. I'm like, all right, it's talking about this, that, third, the fourth. I'm like, all right, I know what I'm getting myself into. Sometimes there might be surprises in the book that's not even on that first page. So I'm like, all
Mhm.
right, this wasn't on there. Interesting. I wonder why she added that on there later on. But um, so what are your favorite tropes in dark romance? Which ones really like draws you
I
in?
mean, call me a bad book talker, but I have no idea about tropes or none of that. I don't really follow any of that. I mean, I guess if I had to like pick ones that I know in my head are like obviously morally gray, morally black, FM, all of that really strong FMCs. That's my thing. If you have a whiny FMC, I can't do it. Like the only book I've ever DNF'd in the dark romance genre was
Hmm.
literally because the voice in my head from this FMC was so whiny and annoying, I couldn't do it. Like I get it, they're going through hard stuff,
Hmm.
but we haven't even gotten to that part yet. This is just the way that your brain works and the way that your brain breaks things down and you're being whiny about it. I can't do it. Because if we're like that now, we're not going to be able to deal with what we're about to go through. Like we
Right.
need to just, you know, have a good foundation of strength.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, I guess the tropes would be like touch her and die. Um, Stuff like that. I don't really
Yeah.
know. I don't know because I don't use those classifications when I'm talking about a book. I use very specific things because it's a very specific genre.
All right. All right. Makes sense. Um, so how many books do you have are like mafia books?
Mafia?
Hmm.
Not a ton actually.
Really?
Mafia is not, I mean, it's okay, but define mafia, right? So, like, you have the Lord series, which is technically not mafia, but they're
Hmm.
in like a secret society. Um, so I mean, true actual mafia books, not a ton, maybe four or five, if that.
All right.
Mafia is just it's a weird thing. It's in Lights Out, actually. It's in Lights Out Caught Up. The second book is a mafia book.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't read any dark romance, so well, my wife, she likes mafia books. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder if
Yeah.
okay.
Because
All right.
mafia doesn't always mean dark. Like just because there's someone's in the mafia and like yeah, they go off and do things, having a book where someone's in the mafia and you know that those things are happening is one
Mm-hmm.
thing, but having someone in the mafia and actually being a part of the book, like the way that they torture and the way that they do things,
Mm-hmm.
that's a very different setup. And so I'm careful with mafia books because they're not always in the dark realm. They just have these like things that are just known. Like we just know that this happens.
Mm. See, I'm
Yeah.
learning a lot more about these books as we go along. Zero knowledge whatsoever. So I'm
Yeah.
learning a lot. So I'm just assuming that Haunting Adeline or the Lord's books are the darkest ones that you read, right? Or has there been
Um,
others that's darker?
I would say Haunting Adeline's probably the one of the darkest. Because there's so many elements to it. Like
Hmm.
there's her trauma, yes.
Hmm.
But part of what she goes through, these people also do things like it's not just her that goes through this, it's a whole ring of people, basically. It's human trafficking, like that's what they do. And so Zaid Meadows, the MMC, is basically the whole thing is him trying to take it down. And because he's trying to take it down, Addie ends up getting involved because she's his weakness, right? Um, but in that, children are involved, all of these things. And so his whole goal is to basically shut this whole system down.
Hmm.
And in doing that, like he has to endure seeing what's happening to these people and who's doing it and all of these things. And so there's a lot more world building to it.
Hmm.
So I think it's the darkest I've read, but it's not necessarily like the darkest where it all happens to the FMC. There's so much more in that book. I mean, the first book is 700 pages.
Hmm.
So is the second book. There's a lot of other stuff in there. The Lords is probably another one that's up there. Still Beating, Jennifer Hartman. That one's kind of along the same thing.
Hmm.
Um, they get kidnapped by a serial unaliver. So used to being on TikTok. I'm just using the
No, it's
verbiage.
fine. It's fair.
Um, they get kidnapped by that and they go through things and it's her and a guy and they like end up bonding obviously through their trauma and all of that. That one's pretty dark, I would say just from that. Um, yeah, I mean those are probably the darkest as far as like the romance part goes. And then there's another one, Grimm, which I recently did on audio, was
Hmm.
recommended to me, and that one is really dark in the sense of like the whole point of it is like the main character's a Grim Reaper, right? And so the whole point of the book is dealing with death in
Hmm.
and of itself and what that means and the anxiety that that brings to people and how we deal with that trauma on our own and how we internalize it instead of trying to look for help or ask for help or depending on our families and how much we kind of like recluse with that.
Right.
So that one's dark in that sense. So they're all a little bit different, but I think if you're just talking dark romance in general, yeah, that's probably the darkest one that ends the nicest way with the best healing arc. I have read others that don't end that way.
Mm-hmm. Like.
Um, those are very good as well. But
Mm-hmm.
when I think dark romance, that's probably the darkest, yeah.
Okay. So here's a fun question for you. If you ever loved a character that would be walking around today, well, there's ever a character that you'll see in person out of all the books that you read, which one would be an immediate red flag for you?
Zade Meadows, Easton Bradley Sennett, Riot Alexander Archer. All of my men would be an immediate red flag in real life. Every single one.
Every single one. All right, good to know.
I like them in my books like fantasy people like their dragons. Like they're great in books, but if I saw one in person, I would probably run the other direction.
So the book that you DNF, obviously
hmm
you didn't you just read it. Have you listened to it in audio as well, or have you not tried to?
I thought about it, and then someone who did the audio said it was worse in the
Wow.
audio than it was trying to read it, because that person knew that I had DNF'd it, wanted to give it a try, so they started on the audio
Hmm.
and could not listen to the audio. Ended up trying to read it. I call it eyeball reading it, and they ended up finishing it, and they said that it definitely was not Haunting Adeline level. It was good, but it wasn't great. Um, but I just every time I look at it, I'm like, I don't even, it doesn't exist. It actually is still on my shelf, I think. Yeah, it's right there. But
What's
it's Den of Vipers by K.A. Knight, and that's gonna get me a lot of hate, and I'm fine with that. But that was, I could not do it. I could not do it.
Den of Vipers? Okay.
Yeah,
So you
crazy.
haven't tried to pick up that book at all, try to read it again, or
No, honestly, that book is the reason that I made a limit on how many pages I will read before I'll put a book down and try to reassess. Because I tried so hard to get through that book and tortured myself for weeks. Like I purposely finished every other book I was currently reading at the time and would
Mhm.
not, I told myself, you're not picking up another book until you finish this one. And I stopped reading for 2 or 3 weeks because I would not pick it back up. I'm like, if I have that much hate in my heart for this book, I can't. It's done. It's over.
Fair. I've like I've stopped reading the book because of the verbiage. So this book
Mm.
called is it Redemption? I think it's Redemption. It's like a white and orange book with like a house in the front and stuff. And all that author, I hated the way that person wrote the book because every third or fourth word is the N word and the N word this and the N word that. I'm like, no, I get it. It's during that time, but don't give it to me every fourth or fifth word. I would like to read a book.
Words like that, but also sentence structure
Yeah.
can make or break a book. The way that it's formatted changes a lot of things. And I recently, like the book that I was reading on my live the last 2 days, is
Mhm.
formatted completely differently than every other book I've ever read. Like she formatted it so differently. But I honestly loved it. I feel like I sped through that book because of the way that it was formatted, and I loved it. I've never seen it in any other book though. So I mean that stuff can honestly make or break a book.
Have you have you read Frida's?
No. I
Go ahead.
So somebody recommended The Housemaid,
Yeah.
and I bought it. I
Hmm.
have it. It's right here. I have it.
Hmm.
Um, and then literally the next day, someone came into my life and said that they read it and it was their worst book they've read of 2025. And
Everybody has their own opinion.
everybody has their own opinions. Everybody does. Their main complaint was they read all three books and all three books were the exact same story.
Fair assumption. Fair. It,
And that is one thing that and the person who told me this knows that that's my biggest struggle. This is why I don't read a lot of fantasies that are 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30 books, is because I cannot stand repetitive over and over and over again. Like every time we're describing the wall in the castle, I don't need to know how much ivy is hanging from it. Like every single time we do this, I don't need it. I know what the wall looks like. We can move on. They know this about me. And so it's them coming in and saying that was like, oh, hey, you're going to hate this because of this. Cool. I'm good. That's honestly the best part about all of book talk is people
yeah,
learning your patterns and knowing what you like and what you don't like, and them coming in and saying, hey, I liked this book. You're going to hate it. That's my favorite part.
fair, fair. Can I recommend a different book then?
Sure.
Um, Never Lie by
Never.
Frida.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a standalone book. Her writing patterns are all the same with all of her books.
Okay.
Exactly the same. You'll get through it literally in a day.
Okay. I mean, I'm all down for standalone books.
Mhm.
If the author has the same writing style, I will probably only ever read one of their books. So I appreciate you letting me know that that's the one.
That
That's
is the
the one I
one.
need to read.
If you want to read one more book from her, great. The person who said that about Housemaid had a very accurate assumption of it being the same book. It's
Good to know. I will let him know.
tell him that he's wrong, but
But
no,
that's okay.
it's okay. So, yes, the story is somewhat the same, but in different situations. A, B, and C is the same about the three books, but how they go about it is very different. That's my opinion,
Yeah. And that's valid. Everybody's opinions are valid when it comes to books. It's all subjective.
right? Oh, that's like burning inside me. Like, how dare you?
I know, I can see it. As soon as I said it, you were like, you had to take that deep, calming breath for a second and
Oh,
then speak.
my collection. I There's only one book that I hated from her, and that's Teacher. I am
Okay.
not big on teacher student relationships,
Okay, don't read
especially,
Nocticadia. Just
huh?
FYI. Talked about it earlier. Don't read Nocticadia. That's what that is.
Yeah, no, I'm married. My wife is a teacher, so it's like, how about no? Let's not.
And that's perfectly valid. And I think that that's what a lot of people forget of when they're talking about books and they're reviewing books and they're making these statements to say like I didn't like this book. That's fair, that's your opinion. But then they go on to say like no one should ever read this. It's
No.
not worth it. Don't waste your time. Don't, and but giving your opinion on something and bashing someone are two different things. You can be
Hmm.
nice while also saying that it's not your favorite.
Hmm.
And that literally happened to me the other day. I made a whole video about it where somebody was posted a video and they said, I hated this popular book talk book and I don't understand why you guys are recommending it. Like, somebody please explain it to me because I am grossed out. And it was Haunting Adeline. It's my favorite book of all time.
Right.
My comment to her was, hey, this book's kind of harsh. Maybe you might like these instead.
Hmm.
This is my favorite book. Zaid Meadows is God level book boyfriend. However, you may like these instead. And she responded to that comment with, actually, I read this one and I really liked it. So I'm going to check out the other ones. Finding a way to connect with somebody because you're learning what they like and what they don't like is
Hmm.
the biggest part of trying to create a community. And that's the ultimate goal for me is learning what my readers like, learning what they don't like, learning, I say my readers like I'm an author, but like my friends, I
One
want
day.
them. No, never. I want them to come into my life and say, I'm in a book slump, give me something I will love. And me be able to like run through a roster and be like, have you tried this, and this?
Hmm.
And know what they're gonna enjoy. And I have probably 10 to 15 to 20 people that I know that they'll come in and I can recommend a book and I know what they're looking for and I know what they're not looking for. Even if I haven't read it, they're still taking my recommendation because I've done the research to
Hmm.
say, like, oh, it's this, it's not this. Like, it's Game of Thrones, it's not Lord of the Rings. Like, they're very different and in different
Right.
realms. I can present that to them and say, even though I haven't read it, here's all the videos I've seen on it, and here's what the reviews are saying online, and be able to give that to them.
Yeah, it's great because I've been on other people's TikTok saying, "Oh, teacher's not for me," but they loved it. They loved the whole story. And if they want me to recommend something for you, I'm like, this is what, this is the book that I like. This is the book that I hated, and this is the book that you might want to read. If you want to read all three of them, go ahead. It's not. Frida's not a great writer, but she
Okay.
does have some books out there that are like, all right, you had a couple books that were like flatlining. Now you got me with this next book coming out.
Yeah.
But that book behind you, I've been stared. Yes. What is that?
This one is Beautiful Venom by Rena Kent.
Oh.
It's a dark hockey romance. So I read this book and I loved it so much that I
Hmm.
started her whole universe from the very beginning. I went back to the first book she ever published, and I'm now reading all of them because of this one book.
That's, you said dark hockey.
Yeah. Because it also has the same elements as the Lords. There's like a secret society. You have to do all these things to get into the secret society. They're not the best for society that you probably shouldn't do anyway.
Hmm.
That's what makes it dark.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
What was
good
it
I went
again?
all the way back.
Venom what?
This one's Beautiful Venom, and then the
Beautiful
second book
Venom.
is Sweet Venom. And then I think there's already a third one. She releases books like back to back to back to back to back. So I think the third one is coming this year or it's already out. I don't remember.
Definitely gonna look that up. Beautiful Venom. Um, wow.
The other one turned around at the top there is Name of the Wind. That's the one I was talking about in the beginning, my first special edition ever.
Oh, right there. Your pride and
Yep.
joy. Wow.
That's the Pride and Joy, the first special edition I ever bought.
That is a thick book.
Yes. Very
Over
thick book.
over 1,000 pages, I'm guessing.
I don't think it's over. I think, yeah, it's only 723. But the printing, it's a like a larger print than you
Oh,
typically see in
okay.
like a fantasy.
Yeah.
Um, But the whole reason I bought it was just because the author actually put in like black and gray artwork
Hmm.
throughout the book and that are relevant to where you are in the book.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's all throughout the book. There's like several pictures that go throughout the book, and I loved it so much, and seeing the characters on the pages was so cool.
I might have to pick that book up too.
Yes, it's very good. It's one of my favorites.
Um, is it Hidden Pictures? Something Pictures. It's a thriller book where there's actual artwork in there. Um, I wonder if it's Hidden Pictures. I think it is.
Is it
Um,
there's another book that's like that. I don't know if it's thriller. I think it's just it's not Catabasis. What's the other one? Because it has like some pages are written backwards, some are written like only along the edges. Oh my gosh, what is it? I can picture people watching this and just screaming it because everybody knows this book. And oh, House of Leaves. House of
House of
Leaves.
Leaves.
That's
Huh.
another one I've heard a lot about that I want to read, but apparently it's like something you have to dedicate a lot of time to
Oh
because there's
no.
like cryptograms, there's like all kinds of stuff in this book. It's wild. You can't just like sit down and read it. It's like a whole thing.
Yeah. I'm probably not gonna read that. My attention span is like it's short. So you don't get me in the first couple of pages, I'm not reading you.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I just think it'd be fun to say that I did it and that I understood it, you know? It's
So
a fun little game.
males in a dark romance. So what makes a perfect dark romance male lead? What attributes should that character have?
So the perfect dark romance man is the basic formula is everyone else in the world is an enemy. I like burn the whole world to the ground. I don't care about my phone. I don't care about technology. I don't care about my job. I don't care about anything else in this world except for you.
Hmm.
You are the only thing that exists. You are the only person I'm soft with. You're the only person that I call baby. You're the only person that I ever like cry around. You're the only person I'll ever break for. You're the only one that matters. And that's like the perfect formula, right? Like he hates everyone else in the world and everyone thinks he's a complete asshole and wants nothing to do with anybody and is like, why do you like that guy? He's fucking psycho. But then with her, he's like crawling up to her and like putting his head on her chest because he wants snuggies. Like that's a whole it's that. It's
Hmm.
you're only this person when you're with me. That's the perfection.
Okay. So piggybacking off of that, what's your type? A villain, an anti-hero, or straight toxic?
Toxic? Oh man, I'm the complete opposite of I think every other every other girl because my definition of toxic is like your typical golden retriever guy. The guy that everybody loves, the guy that can walk into a room and like lights up the whole room. It's like, no, I don't want anyone to notice you. Like you shouldn't outshine me. I should be the center of attention. You know, that kind of thing. So like for me, toxic is like the complete opposite of what I just said. You know, that golden retriever energy where it's like everyone wants to be his best friend and he's everybody's best friend and he doesn't change between the personality of who he is depending on who he's around. Like he's just that bubbly fun person and that's just who he is. Because to me, I feel like not everybody can be that way all the time. That's not realistic. That's not people break. There's things in
Hmm.
life that break us constantly. And if you have a moment where you're upset about something and then you like instantly get over it and you're back to smiling and laughing and doing I feel like it's fake. And I just to me that's toxic because you're just keeping it inside of you. And then you have to deal with it on your own. And then you eventually one day are something's going to happen. You're going to explode. You're going to take it out on the wrong person. You're going to
Mhm.
do whatever. So to me, that's probably the most terrifying thing to me is the ones that stand out the most to everyone else is like, oh my gosh, I love him so much. I'm like, nope, something's wrong with that guy. I don't like it.
Eh, it's funny. All right, so let's keep this ball rolling then. All right,
Okay.
pick your fighter: possessive, obsessive, or
Mhm.
protective.
Protective. 100%. You don't have to possess me and you don't have to be obsessed with me because you're already here, right? If you're willing to put your life on the line to protect me, you're obsessed. You don't have to tell me. You don't have to prove it. You don't have to show it. You don't have to be possessive towards me.
Hmm.
If I'm out with friends and we're all together and you don't have to constantly be on top of me. You don't have to have your arm around me. You don't have to be touching me. You don't have to, you can let me run around the room and do whatever I want to do. But the second that I turn to lock eyes with you, your eyes better already be on me because you're watching me to make sure I'm safe. That to me, you're already obsessed. You're already possessive. I just want the protection.
Okay,
I want
fair.
the freedom to be my little butterfly self and
Yeah.
be social and not have to worry about the dude that's 3 feet away that's being creepy because you've already addressed it. You've already walked him outside and told him he needs to back the fuck off. Like,
Fair, fair. All right. So you've told me about most of the guys from your book, but if you
mhm.
could only choose one, who is your ultimate hear me out fictional crush? Only one.
Hear me out.
Hear me out.
Um, ooh, Easton Senate, 110%. Zayd Meadows, everybody gets it, right? Like
Hmm.
he rescues her and he does it like it's great, whatever. Like that's just Zayd Meadows. He's that guy. My hear me out would be Easton Senate. Mainly because of the things that he does to the FMC in the book. They're crazy. They're
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, he like tattoos her, he pierces her, he does all of these crazy things. And my hear me out with that is the tattoo that he does is he tattoos his name on her.
Aren't you not supposed to get your person's name tattooed? I know a couple people have their specific others tattoos,
He
but
didn't have a choice. That made it better. That's my hear me out because that's crazy. That's
yeah.
that's crazy in real life. That's crazy. Um But yeah, that's my hear me out because that's
Mm,
yes. I
okay. All right.
have a type.
Fair enough. So obviously with these dark romance books, there's some spice in it.
Yeah.
What's what's the spice level in romance book? Is it like a 2, a 3, a 10, depending on what you're eating?
It depends. So like Haunting and Hunting Adeline, it's really spicy in the first book, not
Mhm.
so spicy in the second book, because part of her healing arc is that she doesn't want to because of what she's went through. And so the healing arc is when she gets to that moment where she does want to again. So hunting is very little spice and it's all the way towards the end. It's like after the revelation moment, all of this, and it's a slow build up to that.
Mhm.
Um, but then I've read others that are more smut than plot. Like um
So
I think
would you?
my happy medium is probably the Lord series. I keep that's like my Roman Empire if we're going bigger series.
Mhm.
Um because I feel like it's right at about like 30% spice,
Mhm.
which is a lot, versus a massive plot.
So would you prefer plot instead of spice?
I need deep, deep, deep plot. Like I need to be 10 levels down halfway through the book going, that's who that is.
Hmm.
Okay, gotcha. Like I need them to experience flashbacks of things that happened in their childhood and
Hmm.
then learn that the things that were done to them were this guy that they've trusted for the last 6 months and now that guy's got to die. Like that's the deep, deep, deep parts that I want. Want it to be multi-leveled.
Okay. So deep plot, and I'm
Yep.
guessing slow burn or immediate chaos.
Doesn't phase me either
Doesn't-
way.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So do you skim through the books or do you like just just deep dive and
I think if I'm not liking it as much, I will skim through parts, especially if like there's certain elements that I don't specifically like.
Mhm.
Um, like there's been a dark romance book that I read that I loved the plot, hated the spice. There's certain words I do not like to be used, and they use those words, and so I skim through spice and I go into the plot. Like I have skipped that before. So I do it, but it's not as often as me actually deep diving and reading it. I usually deep dive.
Okay. So which book, well, if there has been any, emotionally ruined you, like full blown tears, like just, you know,
Under Your Scars did that for sure. That is not a happily ever after. It
mhm,
is a dark romance and it is very, very earth-shatteringly dark. That one broke me. Haunting Adeline broke me.
mhm,
Like Hunting Adeline, the second
mhm,
book, broke me. Um, The Ritual, which is the first book in the Lord series, broke me because my story is very similar to the FMC. And so
mhm,
there was a moment where I had to like shut the book, put it down, crawl into my bed, like fetal position, bawled my eyes out, picked it back up, kept reading to see what happened.
wow.
I think the ones that break me the most are the ones that I see myself in the story.
Mhm,
And that is another big part of dark romance is healing from the things that we've been
mhm,
through these FMCs who are doing it in a safe way where I know that I'm not in that position anymore and I can put that book down and walk away from it and
right.
that I'm still safe. But then picking it back up and having the control of how much I'm intaking and how much I'm consuming of it at one time and knowing that it's not it's not going to change my physical being,
Mhm,
but in the same breath, hearing your own thoughts written on a page from someone else's point of view
mhm,
and hearing that someone else has gone through something similar makes you understand that you're not alone and that
right.
it's not a unique experience. Other
Mhm,
people go through this, and I don't think that the people who read these kinds of books take that for granted. Like I think the people that really enjoy dark romance are people that have been through things that are similar and enjoy knowing that they're not alone and that that healing that they're doing is worth it and it's going to be worth it and that it's possible to be that way. So no matter what stage you're in
mhm,
of that recovery, you're going to read about it in a book somewhere.
right. Has reading these books help you heal?
110%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not the same person that I was 2 years ago when I started reading a lot of it.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
You could obviously relate to the characters in the book. I'm assuming so.
yeah,
Wow. See the power of books that it's
incredible.
insane. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So do you like go back immediately to reading a book, or do you just take some time before you pick up that book again?
So I usually have three or four that I'm reading at the same time. So
Right.
usually when I finish a book, I'm finishing out a couple of them and then I have a rotating roster of what I want to read next.
Hmm.
And they're all in different genres. So usually I'll have like a fantasy on board, a dark romance on board, a more light-hearted kind of dark romancy vibe. Like I'll have one of each. And so once I finish the dark romance book, I pick up another dark romance book, but I
Hmm.
may not start it right away because I'm in the middle of the fantasy book. And then if I get tired of that and I feel it's repetitive, I go to the next. Like I just have a rotating shelf basically.
So four books are like your max to read, or have you read more? Like, in how do you
No,
keep them in line? Like, I've tried reading two or three, and I get them messed up all the time.
it's the genre. So like I will read something like Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings level fantasy, and
Hmm.
then I'll have a dark romance that's like really traumatic and gonna break me, and then I'll have another dark romance that's like we're having fun, but we're not in danger. And then I'll have a very like lighthearted kind of fluffy romance, and then I'll have usually in the mix there's always going to be a beta, an arc, a alpha, sensitivity, some kind of other read that I'm doing for an author at the same time. So they're all a little bit like different.
Jeez, it's just your rotating roster.
It
Oh
just
wow.
depends on what I feel that day. And usually there's like one or two audios thrown in at the same time. Like there's a lot of things happening.
Man, I'm reading two books and I can't keep them straight. So more power to you.
Everybody's different.
So who's the automatic uh buy for a book? Which author would be an automatic buy for you? Like
H.D. Carlton, who wrote Haunting Adeline.
automatic. Whatever book he comes out with, just
It's
straight to the
mine. I
shelf.
literally have everything she's ever released already on my
Hmm.
shelf. She's coming out with a book in April and a book in May. And I'm already ready. I know which edition I'm buying. I know what day I'm gonna go pick them up. I already know like everything about those. Another one would be Jennifer Hartman. She's the other one that wrote the book that was kind of similar to Haunting Adeline.
Hmm.
Um, Other than that, I think I don't know. I think those are really my only ones that are like I absolutely have to have. Carrie Lake is kind of becoming that for me. She's the one that did
Hmm.
Nocticadia. And I have two more of her books that I need to read. Emily McIntyre is becoming that for me as well. I've only read one of her books so far, and I bought the rest of that series, and
Hmm.
I am already looking at her other books. So, yeah.
All right. Soon you'll have a library just like Jen, and then 2,000 books in.
The goal is the literal library, 1,000 books. That's the goal.
Okay.
Yep.
So where do you get your next reads? Through TikTok, or you just go on Facebook, or people recommending stuff to you, or
A lot of it is, so I'll say when I scanned this shelf behind me,
Mhm.
there was like 111 books on the shelf. 98, no, I had only read like 50% of the books on the shelf. That shelf I've read
Yeah.
more of, but honestly, I think it's Anne Rice. I forgot Anne Rice. She's another auto by author. Completely forgot about her because she's like way back in the day.
Yeah.
Um, so some of it is that, some of it is a lot of it is TikTok, I think, but it comes from different sources. Sometimes it's like videos, sometimes it's recommendations. Um, because I have like two or three people that read kind of the same dark romance that I do.
Hmm.
And so they're where a lot of my stuff comes from because they
Okay.
read faster than me, so they recommend it.
All right. So, in regard to dark romance, do you think dark romance is misunderstood by people who are not reading it or doesn't don't understand it?
I don't think it's misunderstood. I think people are just afraid of it because they don't know what it means. And when you constantly hear check your trigger warnings, check your content warnings, check your trigger warnings, that scares people.
Hmm.
Because I mean, you can have something that is like lights out, right? It has content and trigger warnings, but like the scariest thing that happens in that book, it literally is just it's a knife that goes into a mattress. Like that's the scariest thing that happens in that book. Whereas
Hmm.
if you're talking about something like Haunting Adeline, there's a knife in that book as well, but you're like he's like carving things out of his skin. Like it's very different. And I think that when people don't know dark romance, they're just afraid of it because they're afraid they're going to accidentally end up with that when they want that. And so I think it's just hard for them to dive into it. I don't think it's misunderstood necessarily. I just think that when people don't know everything about something, they're scared of it.
Yeah. What is one thing that they should know about it? Not coming from TikTok, not coming from any other person, not like people telling them not to read it and stuff. What's one thing they should just go in with an open mind about?
I think it's doing your research, right? So like I can tell you all day to check your content and trigger warnings,
Mhm.
but like if you don't know what somnophilia is or somnophilia, however you pronounce it, if you don't know what that is, you don't like you're gonna go into it going, I don't know what that is, but like okay,
Mhm.
do your research, look up different things and look up kind of like what not only what words mean, but in what degrees is it used in the book? Because there's a difference between referencing it, it being on page, and it being described in detail. There's different levels, right? So like if you truly don't know what something is, look it up first, and then go to the author's website and actually look at the level at which they go into it in the book.
You're saying do your research.
Yes.
Um,
Do your research. And I guess the number one thing I want people to know is that like it's okay. It's okay to DNF a book. It's okay to pick it up, start reading it, get triggered by it, put it down. That's okay. Um, it's okay to read through a book, not like it, and still talk about it. You can still give your opinion on it, still give a review on it. Don't tag the author. Don't bash them. Don't say that what they wrote was wrong. Like just give your thoughts on it. Hey, I didn't like it because I've learned I don't like these things in books. Plain and simple. That's okay because there may be somebody else out there who wants to read that book but would also not like these things.
mhm.
So I guess just it's okay to give your opinion even if you didn't like something. And it's okay to put a book down if it's not for you.
Yeah. There's been so many books that I've put down after like going through half of it, like this is not for me, and
Yeah.
just got rid of it. Like, no. I
Yeah.
mean, I've seen some book talkers like really going at it at a book that they don't like. Like, all right, just say I don't like it and go on to the next one. But sometimes they're like really rude about it. Like,
I personally think that, and when it comes to doing book reviews, like book review videos, um, I silence is my biggest thing. If
Mhm.
I don't like it, I'm just not going to talk about it. Um, but if someone like came into a live and they're like, "Hey, what do you think of this book?" I'll be the first one to say I DNF'd it. I didn't like it. Here's what I didn't like about it. Um, there's a lot of popular book talk books right now that are trending all over again
Mhm.
that I have tried to read all three series of this particular author and I DNF'd every single one.
Is it fair to say
Yeah.
you're killing me right now?
And
Does that have to
the
do with
funny thing is
dragons?
I, huh?
Does it have to do with dragons?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. I don't
What
know
are
which
you
one.
thinking?
The Imperium series,
Oh no,
Fourth
I
Wings.
love
Oh,
love
thank
Fourth
God.
Wing. Love it to death. No. I am talking about Sarah J. Maas and all of her books. Very
Yeah,
popular. A lot of people love them, and I love that for them. I gave it
same,
my best shot. I got
same.
halfway through the first book in Crescent City, couldn't do it. I got to Queen of Shadows on Throne of Glass. It was okay. Um, I didn't love it. And the thought of doing a tandem read, not loving something, I just couldn't even fathom it. And then Akatar, I got halfway through the first book and I was like, I'm over this. So it wasn't for
I
me.
I tried the audio version. I tried reading the book. I even tried the dramatic version
Um,
of it. Yeah,
The dramatized audios.
drama. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I can't. I forcefully finished it because my coworker said you have to read the book. It gets better. I'm like, literally, my book was stuck underneath the bed, covered with dust. I bought the book, tried to read it, shoved it under my bed, and then picked it up, dusted off, finished the book, and sold it. So I didn't really care for it.
and that's the hard part, right?
Mhm.
Is giving your opinion on books like that is really hard because everyone, as soon as somebody brought it up in my live, like someone said, "Oh, I'm rereading all of Akatar because the new book's coming out," and blah blah blah. And I was like, "That's great for you. I love that."
Yep.
I'm not doing that.
No.
Immediately, four or five people in the comments, "What's wrong with Sarah J. Maas? Why don't you like her books? Why are you saying that? Is there something we didn't know?" And I'm like, there's nothing you guys need to know. There's no conspiracy theory. I
Yeah.
just didn't like them.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Like I love Fourth Wing. I love the Imperium series. I hated the second book.
Really?
Oh, wasn't my favorite whatsoever.
Okay. Okay. That's
It
fair.
I felt like I was in between a fight with Violet and Zayden throughout the whole book. Just
I think that that was Rebecca's attempt at enemies to lovers, and I hated every second of it. I like the lore and the
hmm
world of Fourth
hmm
Wing. I don't love Violet. I don't. I it just again it's her voice in my head. She just sounds whiny and broken. Now, when you get to Onyx Storm, like she's a very different person. Like
yeah.
we have a very different Violet.
hmm
Um, I think had I read Fourth Wing when it first came out, I would have DNF'd that series 100%. But having all three out by the time I read them,
hmm
I was more invested. Not only that, but somebody recommended it to me, said I would like it, and I did. I liked the world building. I just did not care for the whole like enemies to lovers thing. Yeah, not no. Was not it.
Yeah. I'm not big on world building. I just go straight to the story. Like we're in
Yes.
this world. All right, let's get the story going.
I 100% agree. And I think that that's why I loved the Bargainer series by Laura Thalasso, that first one being Rhapsodic. That one, you literally opens on the tragic thing that happens. You know, there's always a tragic thing that happens to somebody that makes them the person that they are. And
Hmm.
usually, like, you get a part of their life and then that happens. No, the first chapter is the tragic thing that happens. Um, so you start off with that. But the book is also based, when you're in this realm,
Hmm.
it's very much based in modern times. They go to a Fey realm and it's obviously completely different, but it's very modern when they're in the normal world. And I
Right.
think that helped me kind of get into it more, whereas something
Hmm.
like Lord of the Rings or like Game of Thrones, like you have to learn this whole thing. That world building's really hard. But I also think George R. R. Martin did a beautiful job with Game of Thrones by delving you into it, giving you enough drama, but also giving you enough lore at the same time.
Still haven't watched the show though.
I watched the show first. Um,
Uh,
the show is essentially just the like first and second book, kind of.
mhm.
The second book is like where the show kind of like off to the side a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, it if you read the book, you've seen the show. You don't need to watch it. That's my opinion.
No, fair.
Same stuff,
Mhm.
just on a page versus on a screen. Same stuff.
All right. Well, it's been fun.
Yes.
I love having you on here. I've learned so much about dark romance.
Good.
Still need to learn some more.
It's a whole another world and it's a beautiful mix of a lot of different things.
Mhm.
And again, it's such a range that I still find things that I never even knew.
Right?
It changes every time you read a book, right? Our perspective changes for everything. So I don't know. I always encourage people, like my chat is open, my DMs are open. If you
Mhm.
find a book and you have a question about something, or you're confused, or you want to talk about it, or if there's something that triggers you and you just need somebody to hear you out and hear your story, I love to talk to people about it.
And segueing from that, if you want to put out your TikTok handle wherever they could find you, whoever's watching.
I am only on TikTok and it's Eyrun Reads. Yeah, that's
All
all I
right.
got.
And lastly, if you could pick out without not adding Adeline or the Lord series or your Pride and Joy right there, which three books would you recommend to people?
That's hard. I would say um dark vibes, but also like really, really fun times and a lot of lore too would be the Katie Roberts series. She has the Dark Olympus series. First one's Neon Gods. There's actually like a whole bunch of them down here. Each one has a different god, different FMC, and they all kind of rotate. Yeah,
Like
these are good though.
Greek gods or
Yeah.
really?
hmm Like the first book is Hades Persephone, and it just goes down the list from there. Yeah.
Might have caught me with that neat because I love like mythology and Greek gods and all that stuff. So
Hold on.
ah,
'Cause if you like that, The Games Gods Play by Abigail Owen, you will love this.
okay.
This is a like Hunger Games meets Greek mythology.
Game
Super
gods.
fun.
Okay.
Um,
And that's a
it's
dark fantasy or just straight fantasy?
It's primarily fantasy. So this author, Abigail, she primarily writes like YA.
Hmm.
These are it's definitely romantasy. There's one spicy scene in the entire book, and it's at the very end. But it's so good. You'll love that one. There's a friend of mine who actually studies Greek mythology, and her and I like bonded over that book.
Ah, all right.
It's really good.
Definitely caught me on the Neon Gods and the game that gods play, right?
The games gods play. Yeah,
The
there's a
games
second
gods
book, but that's the first one, so you'll be able to find the second one if you have that one.
play. Okay, great. Just made my TBR list bigger.
That's my job. As the book talker, you're welcome.
Thanks. Well, it's been fun, but again, thank you for joining. And just one more time, just let the people know where they can find you.
Yep. So my TikTok is Eyrun Reads. It's spelled Eyrun. And that's my only platform. I don't do any others, so it's the only place you'll find me.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining.
Thanks for having me. It's been super fun.
Definitely.